They went down to Brownsville, Texas, one of the poorest communities in America, that Elon Musk sold hope for the town to climb out of stagnation into growth. And instead, SpaceX has caused earthquakes, rampant workplace injuries, skirted regulations, threatened wildfire, and displaced local communities while securing millions in corporate welfare. All right, let's take a look at this story.
I think we're at the dawn of a new era. I think it's going to be very exciting.
We are at T-minus under 33 minutes and counting.
I'd love to have SpaceX be the company that brings humanity to Mars, and I hope I see it while I'm still alive.
I mean, are we going to Mars or not? Right now, we sure are messing a lot of stuff up in our area here.
Brownsville, Texas.
Right, it's like people who just are being crushed under the current economic conditions, being like, well, are we going to Mars? We got to go to Mars, right? Isn't it so important that we get to Mars? That's what Elon Musk says that he's doing. You know, that's why he needs the billions in federal contracts. We got to get to Mars.
It's the southernmost tip of the United States. It's a border town of 200,000 people. 10 years ago, it was upended by the arrival of a very famous new resident, the richest man in the world.
Here, I'll link this.
Many residents are glad that this $350 billion company moved into a town.
Also, you guys have to remember, hold on a second. Boop. Okay, I'm going to unpin this one. Hold on, unpin that one, and then I will pin that one. Remember that there are too many people who equate wealth with goodness. So Elon Musk, as the richest man in the world, guarantees him a level of trust, a level of people feeling secure that he is, doing things to help them, that they look at him as like this intelligent, genius, morally good man of the people because he's the richest man in the world. So, those of you in here and in other leftist communities, like I know that you guys know all of this, but remember that you're not the majority of people in this country. So you can see how being a billionaire does not equal goodness, and in fact the opposite, because of the exploitation that is baked into someone like Elon Musk acquiring the level of wealth that he has, and just knowing like Elon Musk pass and being able to like bloop 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 connect the dots. This guy fucking sucks. But a lot of people who are taken by him being a billionaire who cares about something like space, who cares about, the world's population failing, and he really is just trying to make this world a better place type of shit.
That has struggled with high unemployment for decades.
We need this area to grow. It's the poorest county in the nation.
If we don't grow, we're gonna die.
Come here, Elon. Did you see his rocket yesterday?
President Trump has promised to support Musk's vision for interplanetary travel.
We will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
This is what victory feels like. Yeah!
But what's actually happening in Brownsville, where Elon Musk has already staked his company's flag?
We're a disadvantaged community that's being exploited by a billionaire for his experimental space fantasy.
Yep.
We used to go a lot. I mean, before I even married, we would go, and he would go with his family also. And then once we married, we had boys. We were there probably every weekend.
It was just a very serene place. It's still beautiful when you can get there.
Renee and Ida Medrano live just 17 miles from Boca Chica Beach, where SpaceX launches the rocket Starship, the largest and most powerful rocket ever built, and the one that Elon Musk says will take humanity to Mars. The Starship, which includes the booster Super Heavy, is a 5,000-ton rocket made of stainless steel, designed to carry up to 150 metric tons of cargo, which Musk says is necessary for his Mars colony.
The launch is here. The rocket is right here, and you can hear it, you can feel it, you can see the fire, you can see the Raptors, and you see the smoke, and then all of a sudden you hear those booms. Our dog Miller was running around. It was
Micah,
loud.
thank you for the
It
4 months.
sounded like
Like a bomb?
huge, dangerous, super explosive bomb.
What was once 1,400 acres of beach and wetlands is now home to SpaceX's
Katie,
building
thank you for the 6
facility,
months.
launch pad, and a continuously growing town where employees live, called Starbase. The rocket launches 5 times a year, but right now SpaceX is applying to launch 25 times a year.
It's a shame that it got to this point, as big as it is, and probably going to get bigger.
Musk came to Texas to pitch his private space launching facility in 2013.
This would be the first commercial orbital launch site in the world.
And warned that the company was also eyeing Georgia, Florida, and Puerto Rico.
We are looking at other potential launch locations.
The year before, Musk had spent $12,000 in campaign
This is my hometown. Last November, the county voted red for the first time since 2004. Depressing, but unsurprising. Ugh.
contributions and hired a law.
I know. I've lived a bit north of Brownsville in a little town called Los Fresnos for a few months. The amount of poverty is astounding. Many of the people I knew there lived in literal huts with dirt floors because many weren't documented and couldn't even legally buy or rent a home. Yeah, but they're all special, and they've been been blessed because Elon Musk wants to bring his space program to their little town, and it's going to change their
Obvious
lives.
to court local politicians. SpaceX spent a total of $219,000 on gifts,
Ew.
trips to SpaceX headquarters in California, and even a Lakers game. Texas is a billionaire-friendly state. They have no corporate tax or state income tax. But SpaceX wanted more, and Governor Rick Perry and the state officials were eager to win this bid. In exchange, Musk promised millions in growth.
Our competition for this in Texas is very serious.
When we first met with Elon, he explained the project to us. And then he asked us, do you know why I'm doing this? And he kind of, backs away from the table and looks at us and says, humanity can no longer sustain itself on this planet, so I'm gonna help with that by colonizing Mars. So at that moment in time, number one, I thought, I'm fired. How am I gonna go back to the poorest community in the United States and tell my leadership, hey, let's use our hard-earned tax dollars to incentivize and recruit a company to our community.
Reuters reported in 2023 that there had been 600 injuries at SpaceX locations since 2014. One worker has been in a coma after an on-site accident for 3 years. Another lost vision in one of his eyes after being struck while moving a beam.
Ya no miré yo nada completamente, entonces yo le gritaba a mi amigo, perdí mi ojo.
Musk's worksite in Boca Chica has an accident rate 6 times higher than anywhere in the space industry.
Lo que yo miré, he visto yo allí en ese trabajo del SpaceX, no hay suficiente seguridad. Ahí no hay.
Besides the $5 million Brownsville gifted to SpaceX when they first arrived, the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation has since spent another $1 million to attract space-related startups. Hanosa says it reminds her of a different time in South Texas's past. About 100 years ago, when rich landowners and politicians in the lower Rio Grande Valley tried to lure white settlers to the region to farm. The lower valley was majority Tejano, Mexican Americans who had lived there before Texas was even a state, and it still is today.
They advertised our low-income people as cheap workforce and cheap land, come here and exploit.
Since Musk's arrival, the launching site and the SpaceX campus have grown much faster than Hanosa and the Medranos ever imagined.
Never did we think that they would be taking over the entire area. It was just Elon Musk is going to come in, he's going to build a little pad, he's going to have a launch, and that's it. But now it's totally different than what was explained.
The thing that bothers the Medranos the most is that they can rarely go to Boca Chica Beach, a beach the state of Texas and the city of Brownsville promised the public would be able to visit. The Texas state constitution guarantees access to all public beaches, but in 2013, the state amended the Texas Open Beaches Act to carve out space activity. Now the state is free to close the beach anytime SpaceX wants to launch a rocket. And it turns out that's a lot.
They'll send a text and they'll say Boca Chica Beach is now closed. And if we're planning to go out there, that's it. Unpack everything. And then 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'll get another text. Boca Chica Beach is now open. Well, who's going to go out there at 10 o'clock at night?
You're on their time. You're on SpaceX time.
Local people call Boca Chica Beach the poor people's beach because this is where people come to fish. We come to the beach with our families because it was free and open to the public. And SpaceX is changing all of that rapidly.
Boca Chica Beach is not only a popular spot for fishing and swimming, it's also a complex ecosystem, one of the most biologically diverse in North America, and home to endangered and protected species, including the ocelot, sea turtles, and the piping plover.
SpaceX is trampling over this entire site, singeing the wildlife, burning down part of the wildlife refuge. This region, most of the native habitat has been destroyed because of real estate development, industrialization, farming. We only have 3% left, and that 3% is being destroyed by SpaceX.
Oh, God, not the fucking Cybertruck on the beach. Man, what a perfect image to just describe the dystopian, horrific state of things. A fucking Cybertruck on the beach. Please, can Jaws just come out of the water and swallow it up? Oh, God. Oh, God. Parliament.
Co-founded the Texas Environmental Justice Center, and along with other national and local environmental organizations.
Yeah. The fucking Cybertruck with the galactic wrap. It is so hideous and just a perfect symbol of just Elon Musk, how everything he touches turns to piss.
Is suing the FAA and SpaceX for violation of the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. In order to build on the site, Musk had to do a thorough environmental impact statement, or EIS.
If that was rust, that even just makes the symbol stronger.
IS, under the National Environmental Protection Act. These reports are really comprehensive. They include impacts to air quality, carbon emissions, water usage, wildlife protection, as well as cultural and economic impacts. Initially, SpaceX got approval to launch the Falcon 9, a reliable and, after years of testing, safe rocket that takes cargo into lower orbit. But in 2018, SpaceX announced they would be launching the Starship Super Heavy, a rocket 20% larger than the Falcon 9 with 10 times the thrust. In a press conference, Musk said they would be testing their new rocket in Texas instead of the Kennedy Center in Florida because
He's got a lot of land with nobody around, so if it blows up, it's cool.
This is a perfect...
The left has billionaires too, and they are worse than Musk. Who? You talking about like Julia Louis-Dreyfus? Who on the left? Who on the left is, first of all, a billionaire, and a billionaire that is worse than Elon Musk? Like, mod check, please. Please.
Perfect example of a time the FAA should have conducted a second EIS, but instead did a simplified environmental assessment.
George Soros. I should have put a bet on that. I should have known. Of course, yes. The villainous George Soros, who is behind all of the evil in this world. I wonder what that chatter's other political opinions are.
Or EA.
Hogan,
officials concluded that there would be no significant impact of launching this much larger rocket from Boca Chica Beach. That same year, before a single rocket took flight, SpaceX started a fire during an engine test that engulfed 68 acres of brushland in flames and burned through the night. In spite of this, the first launch of Starship was scheduled for April 20th, 2023, aka Weed Day. Here's how the launch was supposed to go.
Of course.
Starship was
Of
meant
course
to
it was on
orbit the
420.
Earth, with the booster landing in the Gulf of Mexico and the spaceship re-entering the atmosphere and
The country is run by corporations. You're not going to find anybody arguing with you in this chat.
landing in the Pacific Ocean. Instead, the launch pad exploded, sending debris across Boca Chica Beach and scorching more than 3 acres of land.
Jesus.
A dust cloud poured over the nearby Port Isabel. Buildings shook, a window shattered.
Holy crap! Rocket is launching. See it on the ladder.
They want to do
like the
25.
soot.
You
Big ol'-
guys, they want to do 25 launches. Speed, thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs. Thank you, appreciate you. They want to do 25 launches this year. That is on average over about 2 a month. Look at what just this one launch is like.
Whole layer cake of it. And they're trying to tell us it's sand.
SpaceX hadn't installed flame diverters, or a simple and very necessary water deluge system, sending shards of concrete and rebar all across the beach. The spaceship also failed to separate from the booster.
The entire Starship stack continuing to rotate. We should have had separation by now.
And spiraled in orbit before exploding and landing into the Gulf of Mexico. Elon looked disappointed, but SpaceX assured viewers it was a success.
You never know exactly what's going to happen, but as we promised, excitement is guaranteed.
What Elon Musk and
Are you excited now, Mr. Krabs? Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs?
what SpaceX tells people is that we are so efficient, we have to develop our rockets by just testing them in the real world. We're not going to use as many computer models to make sure that everything's perfect. And if it blows up, then we're going to get even more data. It's actually good if it blows up.
Man, just the absolute irony of further destroying the planet in search of another planet to sustain humanity, right? Like Elon's whole, well, the humanity cannot sustain itself longer on planet Earth, so we have to go colonize Mars. And along the way, I'm going to continue to fucking destroy the environment around me.
Roche is an environmental engineer who writes about SpaceX at his blog ESG Hound.
Those failures have externalities. Every time you launch a rocket, there's a sound wave, there's pollution, you are disrupting people's way of life.
I'm not
Roche
a rocket
documented
scientist,
the
I don't
damage
think that,
after
but I don't think
first
that
launch.
explosion's a success.
Burned
Yeah,
nests
me
and
neither.
eggs, dust and chunks of concrete, and scraps of metal on the beach.
NASA launches mostly from Kennedy Space Center, which is thousands of acres that was allocated by Congress. And so it has a buffer built in. Whereas SpaceX's launch site in Boca Chica is a tiny little spot of land, and it's surrounded by land that they don't own. It's very close to populated areas. And so those externalities are going to be magnified just by orders of magnitude.
The Kennedy Space Center was built using eminent domain, approved by Congress in 1964. But Musk hasn't gone through that same process. He's just slowly expanding the scale and scope of his operation. Roche says it's eminent domain by fiat.
I have never experienced an earthquake until SpaceX.
God.
The earthquakes that I experienced in my apartment, which is over 20 miles away, is an earthquake caused by a billionaire.
Yeah, and you know what Musk is doing, okay, with Doge. It's not just cutting jobs and cutting programs. It's also infiltrating these agencies that regulate his businesses. So he's just got incentives all over the place to keep doing what he's doing, because agencies that are supposed to be regulating companies like SpaceX, well, he doesn't want that because, look. And so he's cutting people who are not his people and replacing them with Musk employees.
Before Musk could launch again, the FAA ground the Starship and launched an investigation, conducted by SpaceX, but overseen by the FAA. They found 63 things that needed to be changed before the Starship could launch again. Musk and his fans goaded officials on Twitter, which Musk owns and has renamed X.com. The investigation closed in September, and the second launch was in November 2023. It was another failure.
The Super Heavy booster has just experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly.
But in 2024, during Starship's fifth flight, the reusable booster separated and returned to the launch tower, which was a major accomplishment for SpaceX. However, not a single one of the launches has successfully gotten cargo into orbit. Musk continued to publicly beef with the FAA, and in September 2024, the FAA charged SpaceX $633,000 for safety.
Oh, you mean the very same FAA that is being ravaged by Doge?
Violations at its Cape Canaveral station. Musk threatened to sue in return, but never did. As the 2024 election approached, he became increasingly vocal that a Trump victory would free SpaceX from unnecessary regulations.
I feel more optimistic about it with the Trump White House. The biggest impediment to progress that we're experiencing is overregulation. The bureaucracy.
Yeah, if there's one problem in this country, it's overregulation. It's federal agencies overregulating the various industries in the United States and companies like SpaceX. Yep, that's what the problem is here. Too much regulation is happening.
In the U.S. has been growing every year.
And after Trump took office, the head of the FAA, Michael Whitaker, stepped down after serving only 15 months of his 5-year tenure. Musk had told him to resign on Twitter just a few months before. We went to Texas in January 2025, just as SpaceX was gearing up for their 7th launch of the Starship. Before every launch, people come from all over the country to tailgate, talk rockets, and perform light shows with their Cybertrucks.
Oh my God!
The idea of...
Oh my God! Oh my God! The fan bros. The fan bros, dude, with the fucking Cybertrucks. Oh, Jesus Christ. Probably trying to one-up each other on their knowledge of whatever the latest speculative, tech is.
Colonizing the moon and going to Mars is also just really inspiring.
And it's inevitable. I think the Earth is not infinite in its resources.
Bro, how do you have your priorities so mixed up, though, that on the one hand you're like, yeah, no, the Earth is, we've really destroyed a lot of the planet. We can't keep going this way. So rather than trying to stop what we're doing, we got to go to Mars. We got to go to Mars. It's the most important thing. We got to go to another planet that we can then just colonize, and we just got to keep going to places that we can then destroy. It's oh God. The colonizer mentality. Why do you want to be a colonizer so bad? Why do you want to colonize so fucking bad? What's up with that?
So we got to start looking elsewhere.
That same week, the FAA was hosting a public forum to talk about SpaceX, increasing the number of launches a year from 5 to 25. Both Madranos and Becca Hinosa were there.
An EA is a concise
Ms. Thank you for the rating.
Describe the anticipated environmental impacts.
Residents were able to talk to SpaceX representatives and make comments to a court reporter. They asked about damages to their foundations and windows. They wanted to know how 25 launches a year would impact the fisheries and the wildlife.
The information that you're giving us is based on the 5.
Yeah.
Not on the
2022.
But that's also assuming that the climate is going to stay the same.
The window.
It takes about 30 seconds. It can be shaking it, but it's not expected to cause any serious damage to the house.
Oh, yeah, it's totally okay if your house is just repeatedly shaking. Really good for the structure of it's totally fine. Yeah, no, your house's structure isn't taking any damage when the entire fucking thing shakes. Don't worry. By the way, did we mention that we're trying to go to Mars? It's so sick. It's awesome. Can I show you this pamphlet? I want to be very Lolo. Fucking love Lolo. I want to be very clear. It would be illegal to break the windows of Teslas when you see them parked. It would be illegal to slash the tires. Sure, it would piss off a Tesla owner. It might even make it so nobody wants to own one, but it's illegal, and that's a fact.
25 makes me laugh.
That's why Lolo and tweeting shit that can get him in trouble at whatever workplace he's at. Name a better duo.
You know? I mean, they had a hard time just with 5 or 6 and keeping all the debris that fall in the Gulf or fall in the Bay or fall wherever it falls.
That's my lawyer, dog.
The FAA told us there wasn't a significant impact. We know that's not true. And what it looks like is the FAA, once again, just making steps to give SpaceX whatever license they want.
The FAA still hasn't announced whether or not SpaceX will be allowed to launch 25 times a year.
Jesus.
The 7th launch was late, a week late. So the beach was closed on Friday, and then Saturday, Wednesday, and Thursday, when the rocket finally launched. It ended with an explosion over Turks and Caicos.
The vehicle just exploded. The stunning aftermath could be seen by passengers on a plane. This same flight to Miami was rerouted to avoid the debris. Other flights were also diverted.
The FAA ground SpaceX again. In December 2024, SpaceX made another surprise announcement. They would apply to incorporate the town of Starbase. For Starbase to become a town, they'll need 201 residents and a majority vote. Luckily for the future town of Starbase, the vast majority of residents in Boca Chica Village are now SpaceX employees that rent from their boss. As SpaceX was developing the Starship, they were also buying up houses in a tiny unincorporated resort town.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Peach Jars, I miss you so much. Please call me a slut again. Please. Please, Mama, I miss you. Need to see you soon.
Just a few miles from Boca Chica Beach. Boca Chica Village had just 38 houses, mostly occupied by part-time residents that winter in Texas. In 2019, SpaceX offered to buy out all of the residents, saying that with new FAA safety regulations, it wasn't safe for people to stay in the village.
This letter that SpaceX sent out is more of a bully attack, a hostile takeover.
But at the same time, SpaceX was moving their employees into town and expanding. Soon there were Airstream trailers lining the block, and a new name for the street that was once called Weem Street. Meme Street.
Everything is so stupid, you guys. I'm trying to find, this is why covering the news, I can only do a limited amount of it, because of all these stories, it just gets worse. You're like, what the fuck? Meme Street? Meme Street, I want to die. I hate this man so much. The things that I wish that I could just say right now. He's a fucking man-child. This is a man who was never loved by his parents because they're fucking evil ghouls as well. And he is a man baby. He is a man baby. Oh my God. Not that I'm a structural engineer or anything, but yeah, vibration adds stress to homes. You don't have to be a structural engineer to be like, yeah, no, that's not good. In earthquake era, it's usually mitigated while building via expansion joints and anti-vibration padding, something that wouldn't be included in planning where they add rocket launches or increase them. Yeah. And so, of course, the next town they go to, they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, you got to get the fuck out, okay? We'll buy you out. Yeah, we'll buy you out. This is why they shouldn't be getting even more millions and billions in contracts, because that's the type of shit they're trying to do. They're just trying to buy people out. Elon's 53 years old or some shit. 54.
Starbase could fund its own utilities, infrastructure, or security forces, and it could create its own local ordinances. It would no longer be a part of Brownsville.
It's one thing to come and try to work hand in hand with the community that's here, but it's another thing to absolutely, and I see this, the actual takeover of everything.
SpaceX has already proven to be a bad neighbor, and that's why most of us don't want it anymore.
You're going to see Elon Musk a lot in the news these days for his role in dismantling key parts of our federal government. But the real purpose of Doge isn't efficiency, it's deregulation. Musk has shown he wants no oversight for himself or other billionaires like him. The story of Boca Chica is crucial to understanding Musk's playbook for seizing public resources and justifying his campaign as part of a grand vision for humanity, whether that's landing on Mars or creating a more efficient government, a revolution for the people, as he's called it.
I wonder, in 10 years, when he's done with whatever he's going to be doing, what's going to happen to this area? Who's going to pick up all this mess? Who's going to clean it up?
Thanks for watching The Classroom for more Perfect Union.
Revolution of the people. Yeah, you guys feel revolutionized? Are you feeling it? Shook, thank you so much for the gifted. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Yeah, it's hard because if you cover any of the news, even if you just want to cover like a portion of the news, you cannot get away from Elon Musk because he is everywhere. It's like Twitter, which once upon a time was a place a lot of us like to use, can't escape Elon Musk. Even when you mute him and block him and everything, it's just he has destroyed that platform. And the news every day just filled with whatever latest thing Elon Musk has done at the behest of Trump, who has appointed him and made up this fake ass agency. I know, he's like a fucking STD that you just cannot get rid of.